Okay.
Connecting to cloud server. Oh. Welcome everyone, and thank you for being here today at our wisdom conversation, Amplify Your Voice. I'm Zaina Kanbai. I am the founder of South South Women. And South South Women is about uniting across cultures and continents. We want to grow the impact of women and men who are leading innovation and creating new opportunities for positive change. So this is a dynamic that we are looking at promoting. We usually look north-south, and now we're saying if we look side to side, we as women and men in the global south have a really grand opportunity to come together and to create new opportunities for business, for cooperation, for impact projects. And really what we're doing is using our voices to create positive change in acceptance, inclusion, and integration for culture. Okay, so welcome to what is our online platform called Wisdom Conversations. And we launched Wisdom Conversations, especially during this particular time, because we wanted people to come together and start thinking beyond our limits. So connecting with people across different cultures who have different ideas and connections allows us to think beyond where we might have been originally stuck, and especially during this period of time. And it will allow us, through what we hear and through what we share, to build and to build well beyond this time period. So we say that networking during this particular time is of paramount importance to build yourself and to build your vision for how you want to go beyond COVID, okay? And Andrea talked about this last week in her presentation. She talked about how we are continually reinventing ourselves in our different roles, but also the importance of reinvention happening with a long-term thinking, not just how to get through the day, but how to think strategically into the future. And Andrea happens to be one of the 17% of women in Latin America who is using her voice to run organizations that she has created. So that's too little, we need more. And that's also why these conversations are occurring, okay? And Kelly had talked about in a presentation the week before that we spent 85% of our time on networking. So if that is not a place to use our voice or amplify our voices and the sincerity with which we are bringing our voices to the table, 85% of our time, then what are we doing with our voices? Am I back?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Amplify Your Voice is one of the reasons that South South Women exists. So tangible influence can only bear fulfilling results if we know and speak from the power of our own voices. We grow together from the strength of our voices uniting for what is morally and consciously right. So today is about sharing stories and tips and lessons from personal experience. And I know from my own journey, I have spent the majority of my life curating my voice for perfection, organizing my voice so that it is well received by others, and straining the expression of my self-worth into the expectation of what I knew other people wanted to hear from me. And I remember very clearly the last revelation I had to remove these inauthenticities and these pretenses, because it was just this morning. So it's a journey, and I struggle through that awareness to be able to speak with who I am and from who I am. And that is why I believe that amplifying our voices and the power of our voices is so important. It's because of how much it takes for us to overcome to even find it. And so, welcome today. And what I would like to say to start with, because I know many of you are here because and for Marwa. 2 hours ago, Marwa let us know that she had actually lost her voice. Very, very excited for today, but I think she used it in trying to promote everyone to be here today. So she has to recover from that. We will have her back, and I'm really, really sorry. And I know that all of us wish her a very heartful recovery. Going on here who have stepped in and stepped up to offer you the most for today. So I would like to introduce to you our influencers and guest influencers today. Karibi Fubara from Nigeria, who will definitely introduce himself, but is here supporting women from a position of an influential man. And he's just started his own series of conversations called the New African Man. And they are thought-provoking conversations about the transformation of the man in today's world, and in particular, the African man. And so we thank you, Karibi, for being here and demonstrating your support for women in leadership and creating new opportunities, and for lending your voice to us today. And we also have Kelly Aburi, who is a multiple international award winner for business entrepreneurship and humanitarian entrepreneurship. And she will be giving us a presentation today on what it has meant for her to amplify her voice through her networks over her illustrious career of accomplishments. And we have Ibiene Ogolo, who is also a pioneer influencer of South Women, the publisher of the unique online magazine, Ibiene.com, and a wealth and asset manager from Nigeria. And Andrea Groboko Patel, our pioneer influencer, she's an economist and a huge advocate and empowerer of women using her voice through a foundation that she has created, Fundación Flor, from Argentina. And I know that we have a whole array of powerful voices on this call today. So I really want us to get into it. And I'd like to start with Karibi. We will definitely take questions at the end and engagement at the end. Meanwhile, please share all your information with us online, who you are, why you're here, what you expect from us. Share your social media handles so that we can keep engaging. Let's begin.
Hey, everybody. Thank you, Zaina. Yeah, this is awesome. I guess let me just get out some of the formalities. Again, my name's Karibi Fubara. I am professionally, I run a group of companies based out of Nigeria, where we handle a lot of work in the oil and gas space, mainly in the marine engineering sector. If you guys are familiar with that, we do a lot of vessel movements on and offshore dredging activities. We also have a few other businesses in the money lending space and also in the travel industry. But I've always, all throughout college and going back all the way to when I was a child, I've always been an actor, and that has evolved in definition for me. But because of that, I also have, I guess I've become an influencer in some capacity, because I have been able to star and be part of different entertainment activities, from music to working with artists like John Legend and most recently Jadena, to having a TV show on Netflix that I produced and directed for the first time ever, and having movies that have come out, most recently one called God Calling, that I know will be on Netflix shortly, but I know it's on Amazon Prime now. Short films that are out, all with different storylines, but funny enough, have all kind of tied together to hopefully showcase and support the journey that has always been in my heart. So I think those are the things that I've done. I always get, it's a little bit hard sometimes when we have to read off our CV because we know that's not who we really are. And every day I feel like who I am changes. And I say that because just listening to everybody talk was a bit emotional for me. Because it was the first time that I'm hearing voices and accents and sounds in a different light. A week ago, I had surgery to remove what could be considered stage 4 cancer in my kidney. I just got back home from the hospital on Saturday, but I had told the Ibiene and everybody else that, you know, I was still going to be part of this. And just hearing everybody's voice, I feel like one of the blessings of what I've just gone through is being able to be born again every day. I get to hear again. I get to walk again. When we got to do those things for the first time, we were all probably too little to understand what that meant. So to be 44 and get to really soak in what it means to take a first step, what it means to get out of a hospital bed, what it means to take a breathing tube out of your nose and breathe again, what it means to hear different accents and voices, just what it means not to take this thing we call life for granted, kind of got me a bit. So I'm already blessed to be on this conversation, guys. I thank everybody for just opening their mouths and giving their creative voice chakra, expressive chakra, life. And I guess, yeah, I think that might be my intro for now. What's truth? Truth a week ago was different, guys. Wisdom a week ago was different. I think looking at where we are with COVID, it's again, what's such a huge reminder that we are so egotistical to think we know so much. I think knowing is an evolving journey. Wisdom is an evolving journey. But at the kernel of wisdom is humility. You have to be willing to say, I'm a seeker, I'm a learner, I don't know. Every day, what is it that I don't know that I'm going to try to know today? And I think truth fundamentally is listening. You can only be truthful because you are listening. You're listening to what the earth is saying, what the universe is saying, what somebody else is saying. And a lot of times we don't talk in just our voice. That's just the one dimension. But there's so many ways we communicate. There's so many ways where we are expected to listen. And the strongest way that I have started to understand I need to listen is by listening to the spirit, is by listening to that thing that we don't see in front of us a lot of times. And the only way to really connect with that thing is to get in tune with your feelings, which is usually interesting to say as an African man, especially a Nigerian one. Feelings, what can be that? But you know, it is what helps you. I believe every feeling is connected to a spirit, and it is what draws you most strongly to what the essence and the universe is saying. Um, the strongest feeling, emotion that we all can relate to is love. We're all in different places, different planets, going through different circumstances, but we can all relate to love. And it instantly connects us to a spirit, a universal spirit that transcends wherever we may think we are, what we're doing. And I think there are emotions and feelings just like that that connect us to spirit, that bring us all together. I think that's been the joy of my life that is being manifested clearly now. The stories that I've tried to tell in my artistic projects have been ones that have forced people to connect to some kind of feeling. And usually when you connect to a feeling, which I now know takes you to a spirit, you usually have to act. You usually have to manifest something. That's what we now see in all these amazing things you do. So for anybody who's here thinking about what do we do next, my answer to that would be what feelings are you connecting to next? That's why some of this is so restless. Have I lost you guys?
Mm-mm.
Okay. That's why some of this is so restless for so many of us. I know I'm running out of time, so I'm going to bring this to a close. But this whole COVID energy has been energy that is, if used wisely, is connecting you to a spirit. And if done, you now have the opportunity to manifest something completely different and hopefully amazing. Did I follow the rules and keep the time and not talk like I usually like to?
Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be questions for you, because I think what I want to acknowledge now that you've brought it out in the open, Karabi, is that Karabi was in quite a major surgery last week, and he was discharged on Friday, and he's still committed to being here today. So know that we're with you through your healing process, and as you uncover the next version of your truth through the next phase of your journey.
Can I add one more thing to that? Because not just being here, the commitment to being here is actually pretty selfish. I am aware that my ultimate and our ultimate as humans, salvation is only going to come through women. So I'm here. Stop. So I'm here. I'm here a bit. It's a bit selfish. I've realized the straightest path to us getting all this mess that we see is when we release, and women choose to take complete ownership of their position as the heads of our energy, of the head of the garden, because this is all one big garden. We all have roles to play, but women are the head of this garden. So I'm a bit being selfish to be here. So
we accept your selfishness in this case fully and applaud it. Thank you. So I'd like for Kelly now to begin with her presentation, and then we can move on to some Q&A. And in the meanwhile, I'm sure that I would like to acknowledge Dieprie, who has joined us. Thank you so much. Natalia, hola. Can you hear me? No.
Yes,
Okay, I think I was, did you mute me?
I mistakenly muted you.
Okay. I'm getting the message. Nana, hi Nana, thank you for joining us. Nana is from the Commonwealth Business Network Women of Kenya, one of the very prominent networks that is empowering women in enterprise and business, networking them across the Commonwealth countries, which is a fabulous initiative, which we hope to do more with in the near future. And welcome, Helen, great to have you here, and Clara. Okay, thank you. Kelly? Mausi, hola. And Mabel from Argentina. Thank you for being here.
Sabi. Thank you, Karabi. It was so nice to hear your story, and I hope you're healing and on your way to a full recovery. It's truly amazing that you joined us today. I'm very thrilled. Thank you. I don't know, can Karabi hear me?
Yes, he can hear you.
He can. Okay,
Yeah, but he can hear you.
Okay, before I start, I just could, if it's possible for me to introduce two of my friends, because I have two very close friends online today. One is Shada. Shada actually she's a psychotherapist and psychologist who a couple of years ago refugee camps and to work with the trauma of children. So I want to highlight her because she went completely on her own volition to do this, and that's how we met, because someone told her there's someone here in Kenya from Lebanon who can help you. So I'm grateful that she made this choice to go to Lebanon to serve children who are traumatized, because we would never have met had she not wanted to go there. And the other one, I think Nushat, is Nushat still online? Nushat is, she is the founder of Yoga Wellness for Africa with her sister, Aisha. And they have been doing all the yoga festivals and the yoga weekends, and we do almost 100% yoga at Hub House until Corona shut us down. But they're now doing it on Zoom. And she has been fearlessly fighting to do this. And in the first year that they raised money through the yoga projects at Hub House, they managed to educate, I'm not sure, Nusrat will have to tell you, maybe 30 of the women prisoners in the Langata Women's Prison to become yoga teachers. And I'm highlighting these two ladies because they're my personal best friends here. And I admire them because, and I admire all women, all people who get up and say, okay, I have this degree, let me go and help someone in a traumatized situation. And Nusrat, not only are they doing yoga, but they are doing yoga karma. You know, yoga karma is when you give back. And so the money that they earn from this goes to a foundation and then goes back into doing projects like the Langata Women's Prison, where they have now 30 or 40, I'm not sure, Nusrat will have to tell us, how many qualified, certified yoga instructors we have from the women's prison. So thank you, Nusrat, thank you, Shada, for allowing me to highlight you and embarrass you. But you're worthwhile being embarrassed because you're doing great stuff, all of you. So I'm going to, I feel like, so Zaina called me a couple of hours ago and said, Marwa is not going to be speaking today. Could you step in? And I was so looking forward to sitting back today and relaxing and being taught. This is great. I don't have to do anything today. And then quickly, I had to get a presentation together for today. So I've stolen a few things from the last presentation, but I wanted to build on what, because I don't know what Marwa was going to put into her presentation, but to build a little bit on amplify your voice. And so I thought I'd build it on a little bit from the networking and relationship presentation that we did last time. And just because I think in that context of how we get out there and sell ourselves is amplifying our own voice and letting people know who we are and what we do. But also remember to amplify other people's voices who oftentimes don't do it themselves. So it's not about amplifying your own voice, but, and I think why this is a wonderful platform is that I can highlight Shada. Shada never tells anybody she went to South Lebanon and she worked with traumatized children in the Syrian camps. And Nuzhat's even shyer. So it's up to us also, I think, to amplify the voices of the people we know that are doing great things in this world. Mm-hmm. Lucia is also a very good friend of mine, and I went to her when I was not very well. And she has an amazing space there. So I'm very blessed to have people around me, as well as Zaina and all of you on South Women who are doing fantastic things in the world and really putting your own voice out there to change the way that we operate, and especially now in the time of Corona. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me see if I can get it. Can you all see this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one of the things Zaina is always telling me off for, she says, I never tell anybody what I do or who I am, that I just go straight into the presentation and the facts and figures about how to network. So my name is Kelly. I am from Beirut, Lebanon. I now live in Kenya, and I'm married to a Kenyan gentleman called Peter Aburi. I live between Kenya and Beirut normally, but since last year, we've had our revolution in Lebanon and then Corona, so I've been stationary in Kenya since last November. For 6 years in Lebanon, I ran my own real estate and relocation company, actually in war-torn Beirut. Most people thought I was mad, because if I showed you pictures of available properties back in those days, they probably weren't properties you wanted to buy. But yes, and I became the #1 real estate person in Beirut, also not difficult as I was the only one. Then I fell into the best job of my life. And for 20 years, I worked for Tetra Pak. I started my Tetra Pak career really as a very lowly junior manager in marketing services. Then within 2 years was promoted to director of the Eastern Mediterranean region, which was Iraq, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, and Palestine. My mother used to say, don't think this is a promotion. I've seen those countries. They are sending you because you will go. So then in 2001, I was awarded the Greater Middle East Entrepreneur Award for my work in school feeding and the environment and developing programs within the Palestinian camps. 2001, both myself and 2 colleagues, we created the Food for Development Office, which changed the way Tetra Pak did its business normally. In 2005, I was awarded the Global Entrepreneur Award for my part in developing alternative systems for Tetra Pak business throughout the agricultural value chains. In 2006, Mary Robertson and Kofi and I gave us the UNDP Humanitarian Business Award for our work in the integration of those agricultural value chains. 1 year later, I was promoted to Regional Director of the Greater Middle East, which went from Afghanistan to Mauritania. 2007 was given Asia and was the new Regional Director from our global office. In 2010, I was asked to come to Nairobi to look after Sub-Sahara Africa. And then in 2015, I retired from Tetra Pak and started my Hub House, which is our restaurant and hotel here. So I'm going to start with the slide that for those of you who were here, you're going to have to put up with the second round of this. But this, for those of you who weren't here, these are just small slides, a few of them from the old presentation. I've always said that fundraising, to raise friendships that are lasting and real and sincere, will always equal to fundraising. And I mean that in promotion, in salary increase, or funding, or getting grants, or getting contracts for your company. I call it invisible marketing because we don't have great big billboards or campaigns around the countries that we operate from, but how we develop who we are as characters and the trust that we build within our networks is vitally important in gaining more and more business for ourselves. So how do we get noticed for a potential investor or promotion that we have been waiting for? You know, so many people are out there wanting the same thing. That little pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is very small when there are so many now who are educated and who are coming out with MBAs and PhDs and God knows what, and the job market seems not as large as it should be for all of these people who want to find their place. Sorry. I'm trying to do things here and see, it's not working. Okay, so remember, people don't invest in ideas, but they do invest in the people that bring those ideas. And I think this is really important when it comes to amplifying your voice. You need to be able to tell people who you are, which Zana is always telling me I'm not good at doing that part. I'm good at doing other things. But I think she bangs me on the head all the time. So I think it's really important that when you talk and you amplify your voice, it's also about your presence and who you are and how you're able to bring information to people or bring your product to people. And if you have a good idea, it's not going to get anywhere until you're able to get in with the right networks and talk to the right people. And then about presenting to the right people. How do you turn up? How do you dress? How do you talk? Zaina said in the beginning, she spent years developing and nurturing herself and creating who she is in order, because she had something to say. So she wanted to make sure that her voice was heard. So remember, there are no ordinary jobs, just ordinary people who insist on performing them in ordinary ways. And in the world today where everyone wants the easy options, it seems that mediocrity now is the norm. And it's easy to get caught up in doing what others expect of us. It is only when we stand with courage and excellence and the knowledge that we can do better will we shine and be noticed. Sorry. Don't expect do less, do better. By building these solid relationships and strive for excellence in all things. And this also means to amplify your voice in all things. You know, if you're not building excellence and you're not building those relationships, you're not able to use that voice. So to be in control and to recognize your power. I think I like this because this is knowledge is power, but when knowledge is shared, it hasn't come up yet. Power is multiplied. And I kind of like in these networks like South Women and other networks where you're able to share your knowledge and be able to help each other to grow and help each other to get up that ladder and amplify others' voices to make sure that other people know who they're talking to on this network. And then we have a power base because we're all connected and understand what we all have in terms of the potential that we bring to the world. I'm sure most of you have heard of the 6 degrees of separation or the Kevin Bacon connection, that somehow we're all connected to Kevin Bacon in some way. But Stanley Milgram was a professor at Columbia University, and he said it takes only 5 to 6 handshakes to connect to every other person on the planet, basically. An average of just 4 handshakes should suffice to connect to 250 million people. And he proved that we're only 6 people away from any person that we want to meet. So I don't know how many people do we have online today? I don't know, 40 or 30?
30, yeah.
Yeah, so just imagine if you divide that by 4 and then the millions, how many people we are connected to through this network. Okay, we can't shake hands with each other, but we are actually, through this network, being able to connect to very many people in our universe. So this is a very rudimentary graph that I did. This is really not very professional, but it's mine. I call it the circle of influence or your wheel of fortune. And so who do you want to get to, or who would be your champion that you want to get? I mean, I told the story last time of Queen Rania, of how I got to Queen Rania, how she became our patron. I mean, I have many stories like that, but I think for me, it's very important that if you have a project or you have a contract that you want to get, identify who you need to get to, and then look through your friends, your hobbies, and your golf, and your tennis, whatever, your religious community, your social, your family, your colleagues. Who is it can help you? I remember for a long time, we tried to get to the King of Morocco. We took years. We were talking and trying to find the connections. So we needed his blessing to make our project fly. And then one day we were asked to sit in the front at reception to have coffee and let's discuss this. We thought we had someone, but that someone fell through. And then all of a sudden the receptionist sitting behind us, this young receptionist, she said, "Who do you want to meet in the palace?" And we all sort of looked at her with our mouths open, wondering, well, who the hell is she and how will she ever help us to get into the palace? And she said, because the king is my uncle. And we all sat there very flummoxed, and then within 3 weeks, he was our patron. So this is also about being aware of the people around you and making sure you get to know everyone. I mean, you can't get to know everyone, but I mean, make an effort. I think what I like what Karibi said is to listen Ask questions. Make sure you know who is in your midst. This is one example I had in Malaysia where I wanted to get to the Prime Minister, and we had to identify who our hero was. And our hero was the Minister of Agriculture, who, if he bought into our plan, he would take it to the Prime Minister, and voila, we would have our project. So we identified his son-in-law, who was deputy head of a youth movement, a government youth movement. And so we went through some youth chapters to get to him, and we had him already now working to get us into the Minister of Agriculture. I also identified in circles around, as I made a plan to get forward to how I get to the minister, because you can't rely on one person, how I would get there. And then I did a roadmap, a task force roadmap, where we were able to say where we should be at certain points in the next 3 or 4 or 5 months before we actually presented them to the government ministers. Just some networking tips again. Again, be aware of the value of important chance encounters. Seek out new experiences and make new contacts. Learn from those around you. Surround yourself with the right people. This doesn't mean the richest. This doesn't mean the most successful. This means people who have good intentions, sincere, and have integrity. Join a local volunteer group, Rotary Alliance, or South-South Women. Don't forget to network down as well as up. I remember in Bali once I was having a massage, and I brought 5 congressmen to Jakarta to do a project for me there, to sanction a project for me. And I was trying to get press to this conference, and I couldn't get the press to come except the Jakarta Times, and I couldn't get anybody else to come on an international level. And the lady who was doing my massage, she said, well, maybe you should meet my boyfriend. I said, who's your boyfriend? She said, he's the Time correspondent for Asia. Voila. I took her for a coffee, we got introduced, and he covered our conference. So don't forget, even your massage therapist will know people, and your receptionist. So I want just a small exercise for you, is if you could make your own circle of influence, you can draw your own little diagram in any way you want, and identify your champions in the networks you have in your circle, and create a timeline and a map of how you want to bring this to fruition and what you will change in your current way of working to become that extraordinary individual. It takes courage to want to be different. And you know, the word courage comes from the French of heart. You know, le cœur is heart. And so you need the heart to be courageous. It doesn't take the mind. It takes the heart and the sincerity and dealing with the people that you know in your network in the right way. So you are this initial drop that creates a vast and ongoing network of relationships. And if you look in your life, I mean, someone came to me the other day when I said I was going to do this, and they said, well, it's all very well, you have a restaurant, you know so many people. I don't know anyone. And I said to them, but you know your family. And your family bring friends, and you work, so you do know people. You really have to sit down and systematically understand who you are connected to, because believe me, it's a tremendous amount of people. And you will be surprised if you sit down and do your circle of influence. You will come back and say, I know so many people. So thank you for listening. I hope I didn't take too much time, and good luck with your fundraising. And remember the 4 R's. Responsibility, reliability, readiness, and respect. And smile and encourage all those in your network. Thank you. Now I'm going to get out of it. Yay. Thanks everyone for listening, taking the time.
Thank you. Thank you, Kelly.
Kelly, thank you so much. And I think you might be surprised to know that there are a lot of new people on this call. New meaning they weren't there a few weeks ago. So I think anyway, no one can tire of your stories, or I at least don't tire of hearing your stories over and over. There's always something to learn. And so I would really like to open this up to Q&A now and to personal introductions. This is about sharing and spreading wisdom.
Come.
I think, Ibiene, can you just need you to mute all?
Okay. I muted, including you.
Ibiene, don't mute me. Okay, I'll manage mine. To make the most of the platform, to introduce yourself, tell us something that you want the rest of the world to know about you. We have Ghana, Argentina, Canada, the USA. Hi to Carolina Merli. Hi to Ojini, and to people who have joined us. Hi to Omu. So ask your question, but use this platform to share yourself in a way that's impactful, concise and impactful. Tell us who you are, the country you're from, what you do, and why you're here, what you want to get out of it. And if you have a question, you can direct that to any of the speakers. I know that Ibiene, you may want to start that off. So I'll take over now. While you speak, I'll manage the technicalities.
Hello, everyone. It's so amazing to be back here, speaking and learning from everyone here. I would start my talk today by defining the word amplify. The dictionary meaning for amplify is increase the volume of a sound, enlarge upon or add a detail. To make larger, greater, or stronger, enlarge, extend, to expand in stating or describing, as by details or illustrations. Clarify by expanding. Amplifying your voice comes in various ways. Like Kelly said, encourage people. Understand who your network is, network up, network down. You don't know who is listening. You don't know who can help. I'll tell a personal story that will help to express what I'm doing in amplifying my voice and helping other women in Nigeria, in my fora of work, in my circle of influence, to amplify their voices. I come from a family of 6. 3 boys, 3 girls, an ex-military man as a father, so he was a disciplinarian, and a teacher of a mother. So you can imagine how strict my family was, but strict in a beautiful and calm way. I'm the first girl of my parents. So I have 2 elder brothers. The difference in age between myself and my immediate brother is 3 years and 4 years to the first. Then there's a 6-year gap between myself and my younger sister. I'm giving this ages so that you know that I was a middle child for a very long time. Now, so my 2 brothers played together. My younger sister and my younger brother played together. So most times I was by myself. Now, in being by myself, I'm grateful that my father instilled in me the ability to make myself my friend, to make myself comfortable in my own shoes, to make my voice heard so I could stand up for myself and say, I wanted this, I don't want this, I don't want to go here, I want to go here. I took that on to secondary school where I was able to stand up in class and say, you know what, this teacher was wrong. And stand in front of the principal and say, no, this student was right and the teacher was wrong. So a lot of people termed me, should I say, the one-man army force. Again, I took that into my work life where for those who had no voice and I believed in their story, I could stand with them irrespective of what, to say, this is the truth, this is their truth. This is what I believe, and I bore the consequences that came with standing up for people. Now, I have worked in various industries, mostly in male-dominated industries, and I have found that the mentorship of the women in those industries fell squarely on my shoulders. So I took time in explaining to them that you can do anything you set your mind to doing. If you're good at writing, write. If you're good at speaking, speak. If you're good at singing, sing. If you're good at cooking, cook. I have a couple of friends who, at some point in time in their lives, they have felt uncertain about different things. However, in the public sphere, they are looked up to as still women, still men. But in their own internal lives, they were unable to voice their own truths. What am I saying? I'm saying that every one of us has an attribute in our lives that we can use to either magnify our own voices, to put to the forefront something that we believe in, or magnify someone else's voice who, for some reason or the other, the person has gotten a sore throat, or the cat has cut her tongue or her tongue for the time being. We should be each other's mentors and mentees, and stand up for each other, believe in each other, and I'm sure that together we would amplify the voice that says consciousness. To get here on this platform, I believe that all of us here have one thing in common. We want to learn, we want to become better people, we want to make the right connections, we want to protect our networks. And in so doing, together we can come together and preach this one message to the world: peace, love, and care. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Ibiene. Thank you so much for that vision, because I think we're at a point where the world now needs communication. It doesn't need perfection or perfectionism, which is what I was trying to, which I was, driving myself by. It needs vision and visionaries. And I believe that we have the potential for that here as we connect and create together across cultures, across continents, across languages. So we can open up now. We can open up to anybody who would like to make a comment, to introduce themselves in a way that is impactful and concise, or to share something with the platform. I'm going to give you the option to unmute yourselves.
Zaina?
Yeah?
There are a few people texting me.
Oops.
For Share Heart. So I've asked Luce if she can put anything on the chat, or if all of you can put your emails.
Just a second. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, if anybody who are interested in Share Heart or the Yoga Wellness for Africa or anything like that, please put your emails, and then Luce can take your emails from here and she will send you all the information. She has a beautiful video on Share Heart, which you should all see, but she can't seem to upload it here. So if any interested, please leave your email and your phone number, and Luce will take it from the chat and she will send something to you.
Perfect. That's amazing. And that's what happens when we amplify one another's voices. So to add to that, if anybody wants to amplify somebody else's voice, go ahead. Okay, so.
Hi, everyone. Probably I should introduce myself. Quick intro. I got cut off before when I just joined in. My name is Celestine. I'm in the digital space for women and youth. I'm very excited to be part of this South to South Women, and looking forward to be actually part of the whole movement going forward, because it really resonates with the projects and the activities that I do in my field of work. Thank you. Nairobi, Kenya.
You want to say a little bit about what a potential project of impact could be within here, because you never know who'll pick it up.
Okay, so currently the current project that I'm doing that is very impactful is impacting refugees digital. And what we are doing at the moment is enabling them to see possibility of actually leveraging the gig economy to be able to earn at the same time to study from wherever they are. So I'm working very closely in the DAB, rolling out the program. Before COVID, the program was purely on a face-to-face basis, and now pivoted online. So for me, technology is something that I've realized it depends on how you look at it. Would have chosen to stop the program and rethink, but we had to pivot in about 3 days so that we just finished this current cohort. And we've got a lot of learnings from that. So for me, impact is basically enabling people to be self-reliant through the skills that they've achieved.
Okay, thank you so much, Celestine, and we do look forward to having you on board,
Okay.
perhaps even as one of the
Okay.
guest influencers.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Would you can unmute yourself, so anybody is free to speak. I know we have Argentina in the house, and don't worry about language. Don't worry about language. If you choose to speak Spanish, we will translate. Don't hide your voice. Mabel, ¿Es la mano? ¿Levantaste la mano? Ok, vamos.
Hi, this is Vivian.
Hi, Vivian.
Hello. Okay.
Hi.
And then,
yeah.
Mabel?
Okay, Vivian, first, please. Come in.
Okay, thank you. Kelly, thanks for your presentation, because that was a new insight and perspective, especially one that I've never thought through, because we tend to keenly look outside when it comes to getting networks that can spearhead us from somewhere rather than looking inside. So I wanted to request if I can get your presentation in soft copy, and if you can allow me to use it with the team that I'm working with towards just training and understanding the value of networking and looking from within the circle of influence that you're currently having to be able to move forward, I'll really appreciate it. Thank you.
No, if you give your email to Zaina, and she will send it to you. Okay.
Actually,
thank you so much.
Thanks, Vivian, for your intervention, because what I want to add are two opportunities. The last conversation, which was led by Andrea Grobo-Copatel on balance, focused a lot on reinventing yourself. And we are going to be turning that, as well as the presentation that Kelly did, into flagship workshops for South-South women, which we will be launching in the summer. At the last Wisdom Conversations, we gave the opportunity to 3 people who presented something about themselves, their company, and how they want to grow their community. We gave them the opportunity to be the first participants in the flagship workshop. And those prizes went to Vivian, who just spoke, Mausi from Argentina, and Valeria from Argentina, both from the Fundación Flor network, because they sent us they sent us information based on those requirements, and they will have access into the launch of our flagship program. So today, the opportunity we are extending to 5 people, who take the circle of influence, demonstrate to us how you want to reach your champion, and we will involve you in the flagship launch of the workshop on that topic: relationship building and network building and sincerity in business and enterprise building. Okay, so those are the opportunities you have to be able to participate in our flagship workshops. And the workshops, once they launch in the summer, are open to everybody across the global south, men and women. Okay, so here you have the opportunity to be the first participants out of one of our ways of thanking you for participating in the Wisdom Conversations and honoring your involvement in the network. So the three have already been chosen. 5 people from today who submit the circle of influence to impact@southsouthwomen.org will be eligible to participate in the flagship workshops.
Okay.
So, Mausi, ganaste.
Okay. Okay.
Mabel?
Okay. Hello,
Yes.
everybody. Hi, my name is Mabel. I'm stayed at a first meeting with him. I am Argentina. I work. In my English is very little. Okay. Maybe I need you help me now. But I work in the National Service, Plant and Animal Health. In my area is international relationship. I work in the agribusiness, the agricultural products in between between 2 or more countries. Sorry. Okay. I have 3 children. Sorry. One twins, one twins and one boy is 3 years. I am engineer agronomic, and my dream is first I thank you and all for can participate in this group. Is a big opportunity for me, and thank you very much. I think it's
Tell us your dream. Tell us your dream.
Okay. Yes. The principal priority of the political global now is today is a big impact in the climate change, employment, health, human, sobre todo, ¿cómo es sobre todo?
Above all.
Security food. For me, it's a very important that the small farmers reach the best economies for him. Mm-hmm. And I think that education is the more important, and I think that in a project but can poder transmitir,
to transfers
and new knowledge and technology, and I can help them.
Wow, so that's a massive dream. Her dream is to have smallholder farmers build themselves through new technology, yes, and innovation and information. And it is, yes, her passion for food security as we move into the world that we are now creating. And Mabel, I know that on this chat, and Mabel was saying that she works for the government in international relations. So I know, well, with the Ministry of Agriculture specifically of Argentina. So there are, yes, several people in this chat, in this group, who would truly benefit from your knowledge and your expertise on that, and your vision. And she was in Kenya, so I think you actually saw for yourself.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I send my email. You can chat, and I stayed with him. I tell you, and together we are strong. That's okay?
Thank you. Yes, okay. Very good. So in Spanish, we say thank you by saying gracias. So can we all say gracias?
Gracias.
Gracias.
Perfect.
Gracias.
So I want to,
Okay.
I want to honor time which we have gone over by 15 minutes. And so if it's if you have to leave, please do, but please don't leave without sharing your name and your country and your email address and your social media handles, so that we can have every way of keeping you engaged and involved. If you're not leaving, if you're choosing to stay, the platform continues to remain open to anybody and everybody to introduce and to amplify your own voice and the voice of others. And any questions that you have for Kelly or Ibiene or Karabi or anybody else. Omu.
I want to say thank you to Karabi. I just want to ask Karabi, are you okay now? Are you recovering? Are you well? Are you, is he there?
Yeah, we'll just take the question from Omu and then Karabi can answer when he unmutes himself, because Omu's already unmuted. Omu?
Okay, hi, it's not a question. It's not a question.
Okay.
It's just going to run by you what I do.
Sure.
I'm actually an event planner, and I'm also a certified health coach and a certified John Maxwell leadership coach. So what I do is I plan retreats, and I, of course, do training and coaching in leadership and health and wellness and lifestyle. I had retreats lined up for women, basically not retreats that bothered around education, because I had identified that a lot of women just work, and in Nigeria, quite a number of women, even if they're not breadwinners, their income is needed. They need the income, so they're under so much pressure to work. And when they do go on holidays, I don't call them holidays, because if they're married, they've gone off with their husband and their kids. So it's repeating things in a different environment. So you find out that they never really have their me time. So my retreats were always centered around pampering yourself, exchanging ideas, but generally relaxation, not anything to do with work, just a me time. And then came COVID-19, which even made it worse. I also am involved with a lot of charities that give food to the poor, and I deal with a lot of the lower income communities. And I find that with the men, they might just give you money, but it's the women you would actually see doing the actual work. I work with children living with cancer, and I see the men hardly come to the ward. The women are just sitting there. Sometimes they don't want the money. They just want someone to sit with the children while they go out and just have a breather. So you find that sometimes it's not about physical cash, it's an emotional thing. So during the COVID period, I came up with something called Thrive with Omu, and I decided to offer women form a mastermind group with women. A lot of them are now worried because obviously we know the jobs are everything is going to change. A lot of women who are entrepreneurs did what they enjoyed, made money while doing it, but there wasn't really any intentional plan for growth in the business or personal growth. It was just something they were doing. So it's now going back to the drawing board, relearning, unlearning and relearning, and strategizing. So I'm doing 2 mastermind groups. One is the 15 irrefutable laws of growth, because I think that we all need to grow. It's not just about progress. You might be making money, but you're really not growing in your personal life and in your business life. And then the other one, which is dear to me, is the one that says, sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. Because I've tried very hard to preach to people that, yes, as bad as the situation seems, there are lessons to be learned. And if we're attentive and we look at our insight and not our eyesight, we will definitely see opportunities. So that's what I do. And the mastermind group is actually free.
Perfect. So that's really great for everybody in the group. Are you able to put those contacts and the link to the mastermind group on the chat? And then we'll also make sure, because it's a really good opportunity, that we share that through our network as well.
So, Kelly, to answer you, I'm recovering and I'm healing and I'm learning again. And I feel completely blessed that I'm getting a chance to, can you guys hear me?
No, we can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel completely blessed to just have caught it early and all the other details that have gone into, and just, you know, without boring you guys too much, but I'm really grateful. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of knowledge that I need to gain, and I really I'll reach out to you, because I think Lucia was talking about some of the homeopathic ways of just kind of eating and different things. Not that my diet was bad before, but I think it just puts a little bit extra spotlight on how we take care of ourselves and what we put in our bodies, as part of many other phases of my growth and my healing. But I do want to say that one of the things that is become very clear to me about my process is that a huge part of amplification, whatever we all choose to do, and we all have so many different passions that are driving us, and it's beautiful to hear. But and I don't want to sound crazy or weird, but the greatest source of energy to amplify anything anybody else is thinking about doing here is to get connected to your spirit. It literally is going to, you know, I hate to sound, you know, people talk about miracles. It's not really a miracle. It's just that you've manifested something you've been very intentional about in your spirit. And finding ways in your day, you know, balance is awesome. Finding ways in your day. I wake up now, thanks to the ICU, where you don't sleep in an ICU, you don't rest in an ICU, you just get better. But thanks to the ICU, I'm kind of up at 4 o'clock. My body clock is like set to being up at 4, and I spend a good amount of time just in meditation and just putting in motion the spiritual energy that's going to be needed for me to do all the things I want to do during the day. I.e., still be on this call an hour and a half later, even though I have a C-section size scar, you know, from the middle of my right ab to the back of my, the middle of my left ab to the back of my left side. So, I feel strong about it. And, you know, so that's what I would share. So important, guys, so important. Be intentional about what you're doing spiritually.
That's amazing, Karabi, because spirituality is the fourth component of health, and we often don't even consider it as part of our health. Physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. When you're in balance, and each of them require equal attention, and they require being balanced in order for you to exude an aura. That is your aura when those 4 components of health are in balance. And our spiritual health is what I think each of us senses we are being called on more to care for. And with physical health and what we consume being the easiest access to that, we need to take care of that more. And so I think definitely one of the next wisdom conversations we do will be about conscious lifestyle, because there are some experts in our midst. And thank you for your sharing. And Kelly, there's a question directed to you from Nicolette. Oops, I just lost it in the chat. Nicolette, are you online? Yes, I can't seem to trace it on the chat. Do you want to unmute yourself and ask? It was a great question.
Thank you, Karibi, and thank you, Kelly, for your presentations. But I wanted to find out from Kelly how you manage, in terms of friend raising and networking, how do you manage outgrowing certain friends or certain people throughout your career progression?
Yeah, I think it's incredibly important. Zaina knows. She spent an afternoon with me talking to friends that I have known for 40 years and 35 years. I think if the intention, and you attract those people around you who are genuinely sincere and genuinely want your growth as well as you want their growth, you will never outgrow those sort of people. I think the people we outgrow are those people who are not on the same level with us in terms of, Caribe said it, pay attention to your spirit. Those people who are not paying attention to their spirit, and like Zena said, if they're not in harmony and in balance, that all these, the emotional, the spiritual, the physical are not together, then they're not mindful of even your growth. So for me personally, I don't think you outgrow people, but we move into different cycles and circles in our lives as we grow. I have friends from 30, 40 years ago. I'm still friends with them today. We are not sharing the same space, and we are certainly not sharing the same headspace in many ways. But when I say network and friend raise, even down as well as up, I mean everybody. Don't lose friends. Don't lose people who were valuable at a time and they were contributing to your growth and you contributing to their growth. They still have value and they are human beings, and you as a spiritual human being should be mindful of that too. But yes, as you grow, there's a very famous poem by an American author called Hugh Prather, and it's called Notes to Myself. And in it, he says that he never changed. He says, people always come to you and say, have you changed as you grow? And he goes, no, I only added to who I am. So really who you are, that essence of who you are never changes, but you add to yourself. And I think it's the same thing. Those friends are still there. They will never go away. But you add other friends who at whatever given point in your life you need, because your growth needs are different. But these people don't become expendable. These people are still valuable. So it's like saying that my old self is not necessarily something I need today, but you still need it, because who you are is who your parents have created and given you values. And I have the same values now as I had when I was 6. If someone hit my brother, I got very upset and cried. I would get upset if someone came and hit you today, So these kinds of spiritual values are still there. They don't change. But I think what happens is as you grow, you have different needs, but don't make other people expendable, because we are all in this together, and there will be a time that they will catch up with you. You never know. I often meet people I haven't seen in 10, 15 years, and I think, gosh, they're still the same. And then when I start talking to them, they're not still the same. They also have added to themselves, but maybe in a different sphere to me. And so we don't recognize maybe. If people are malicious and mean and nasty and backbiters and backstabbers, yes. It's sort of not a question of outgrowing those people. They're not in my headspace. They're not in my spiritual atmosphere. And they are dangerous. For me, these are people who are anti anything that is positive in life. So I move away from them very quickly, because it's not that I've outgrown them. They're not part of who I am. And I never want them to be part of who I am, because they will be destructive to me, to my friends, and to my family. So just move away from them. That's a different thing. You can say, oh, my friends are still gossiping and backbiting. Well, you've grown. And if those people are still doing that, let them do it, but don't be part of what they're doing. And be an example, I think. Just move out, but don't make anyone expendable that's a good person, even if they're not on your intellectual level or your financial level or your social level. They will always be part of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I feel.
That's also, Nicolette, is your question answered?
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
If I can buttress that,
Yes,
what Kelly said, they'll
Sure.
always be part of who you are, because they're part of who you are spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
They may not be part of who you are financially or intellectually, but if they're part of who you are spiritually, then I think you still want to hang on to them.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So what I summarize from that is that you honor all people, regardless of whether they have use for you in your life at that point or not. And if we don't honor, we then become people who let go of those who contributed to us at some point. But our responsibility as human beings, and especially in this time and as we move forward, is to honor the humanity of all. And there may come a time when that person who you are considering expending or cutting out grows enough to want you back in their life, or to need you back in their life for,
Or you need.
or you need them for that
Exactly.
next. So I think we're distinguishing clearly between what is honoring and what is using for a particular purpose, or what is necessary for us at a particular time in our lives. And the relationship of human beings is to honor throughout our lifetimes, whether we are in contact or not. Is that, yeah? Okay. Anything else? And that's a fundamental point to networking, isn't it, Kelly, and to relationship building? Because if you are saying 85% of our time in our lives is used on networking, and you've given us the model of your circle of influence, do you really want to not be able to count on anybody? But also, do you want to be the person who recognizes 5 years down the road, I let that person out of my life? And maybe who the person you let out of your life, what you're bringing to the table, could also benefit them.
No, I think it's very important to understand. I mean, Dana knows how much I detest gossip and backbiting. So I think even within this circle of influence and these networks that we create, you have to understand that you are as strong as the weakest link. And if you come down to the weakest link, which is another person in that network who is gossiping and backbiting, you will be dragged down into that mud. And you don't need to be, because, you know, I said to Zaina once the bird comes down and his wings are in the mud, he can't fly anymore. So stay away from those negative influences and these backbiters and gossipers, because you need to fly, you need to soar. And you need people like women in this network and men in this, like Caribbean said something very important about, you know, you need to, they're part of your spiritual growth, but also you need people who will be the breath beneath those wings. You need people who will blow beneath you to make you the biggest and most powerful voice that you can be. And the people that will not do that are the backbiters and gossipers.
Yeah.
Is Ibiene dancing? Are you dancing?
Yeah, she's flying.
I'm flying.
Because we're blowing from Kenya and from Italy and from Argentina.
And actually, it's a South-South code of ethic. Just to say, a code of ethic of South-South women to never deride the other. It's a code of ethic of ours.
Sai?
Sí, Mabel.
Maybe Caribe puede darnos su email for ask? Please?
Yes. Caribe, you put your email address on the chat, and maybe your social media as well.
Me?
Caribe. Yeah, go ahead and you do it too,
Yeah,
Kelly.
I got it. I'll put that there.
Perfect. Okay, super. All right. Anything else? Anyone else? See, Mousy.
2K.
Yeah.
Oh, she's
Okay,
flying,
go ahead.
girl. Ibiene, you're flying. I love it.
I have 2Ks. 2Ks. Woo!
Mousy from Argentina.
Yes, hello, how are you? I
Hi.
want to thank you, especially Zaina and everyone there for being there, for the space. It's so great for me. Thank you so much. Well, I'm an HR consultant now. It's a especially year for me because I quit my job in December. I was in a senior management position in a company, in a public company in Santa Fe. It's my state in Argentina. It's a big company, but I decided to quit because I want to work and find a job with a real purpose. And my purpose is work with women and try to get more opportunities, job opportunities, and get better life for women who doesn't have the possibilities that maybe I had. Thanks for my family could pay my studies, and I really want to work 24 hours for this purpose. So I took that big decision. and I decided to get this this year for Reinvented Me, and it was funny because it is especially here with the Corona thing, because I decided to work, to travel, and well, but everything happens for a reason. So I don't know how, but I'm here because I'm always looking and searching, and I found these Southern women, and I'm so delighted with the work they are doing. So I hope this helped me to find this job with purpose, and I would give all my abilities and skills to put my little sand, how you say, grano de arena.
My grain of sand.
And my grain of sand to do a better work. So I'm so glad to meet people like you are very doing a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mausi. I'm going to respond to you in just a second, but I want us to let Caribe go and acknowledge him for your presence, your endurance, your courage, and the love you brought to this conversation. Your mindset has been impeccable throughout all of this, and we've really felt your energy come through. And on behalf of all of us, we're sending you our unconditional love energy for your healing.
Thank you.
And look forward to seeing you more on this platform.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And thank you for staying all this time.
Superstar.
Mausi, yes, this is what the network is about. We've heard you. And I think that what would be good is if you send us a little bit more about your skill set and exactly what you're looking for. You can send it into the follow-up email that you had originally shared with me. And I think that what I'm seeing that we're going to be doing more and more of here is having more spaces for people to even maybe break out into network sessions where you can all just connect with each other on your sectors and your themes, and also come in and have special time slots during Wisdom Conversations to present projects that can attract possible ideas, innovation, and partnerships. Yeah, that's what it's about. We have to be looking at how we grow each other during this time, so that when the right time arrives, we are building together and building very, very well.
Great, thank
you. Hey, this is Vivian.
Okay.
Just for curiosity's sake, going back to Omu's introduction and what she's doing, I just wanted to find out from her how she's managing working with women in the low-income areas in regards to impacting them with this program, her program, I Thrive. I'm doing something similar here. I'm a certified coach. I think I forgot to say that during my introduction. And currently, post-COVID, where there's a lot of social distancing, I've not been able to do face-to-face meeting. So I tried to move my meetings into the digital space. But the challenge has been, as women at this season, most of the women I work with, first priority is feeding their family. They're not digitally savvy. You can't tell them to go to Zoom or WhatsApp for such meetings. I've been doing many videos, but my curiosity is, almost said she's working with women in low income on a program called I Thrive. So I just wanted to know, how is she handling the current dynamics of engagement, and how are the women in Nigeria responsive using digital space?
Oh, yeah, answer. Okay.
Hi, I think my internet is actually acting up, so I've been going on and off. But if I understand you correctly, you said you do something similar with some women in Kenya.
Yeah.
But because they're low income, they don't have access to internet and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay. I have a community also. Sorry, go on.
No, go ahead. Sorry for
Did
cutting
you want
you.
to add something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, how are you able to handle?
Okay, so prior to the problem now, I actually have one of those situations I've been trying to wrap my head around what to do. Prior to the lockdown and then the ease now, I would go to the community and physically train them myself. In fact, prior to this, even the mastermind groups were held in hotels or in conference rooms and all that. They didn't want to come online. But with all the lockdown and all that, everybody is heading to Zoom. Now, with the low-income earners, feeding is already a problem. So even if they had money, the last thing they were going to do was buy data. That's assuming they even have a phone that can do Zoom. So that's totally ruled out. Just this morning, I was having a conversation with a colleague and we were trying to see what we could do. In Nigeria at the moment, you can't have any large gathering, but we're hoping that in the coming week, they might start with, say, 20 or 25. If they do that, in some countries, what they've done is they say a percentage of the capacity of the venue. So what I would do is probably look for a large venue so that when I take the percentage, so say a venue would take 2,000 people and they say is only 10% of the venue's capacity, then I know I'm able to seat 200 people observing safe distance. So that's what we're looking at. But as it is now, bringing them together, and I'm actually more careful because like in Lagos where I stay, those areas are densely populated. And from the statistics, they have a higher number of people who have tested positive. So I can't be encouraging them to observe safe distance and at the same time bringing them together in one room. So with that, there's really nothing much we can do apart from wait for the lockdown. But some of them who are on WhatsApp, I have WhatsApp groups that I formed. I do, for those that can read, it's really difficult. I do like little write-ups that would both encourage them and also get them to think towards what they would do post-COVID. Because like I always say, the problem isn't now, the problem is when all this is over.
Perfect. So I think what we can do is leave Omu and Vivian to network further. And what I would like to do is also end the meeting. Just make sure that everybody has each other's contact information. Will also be, if you have, just make sure we have your contact information so that way we can be engaging with you by email and also by social media. And we will see you next Monday. Yeah, and our website is southsouthwomen.org, and on social media at southsouthwomen. So I want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to our influencers. Thank you to every single participant who has stayed for over an hour. No, sorry, for over an hour and a half. And we look forward to seeing you at the next session. And as we grow these, we will also do things to have more networking happen between peers and have questions answered in ways that allows everyone to participate greater and network greater, okay? Thank you, Omu, for your contributions. Thank you, Helen, for being with us. Gracias, Mausi. Richie, great to see you, and always great to have you here. Esther Kimani, Vivian, Mahmoud, we didn't hear your voice today, but I hope that we do at some point. Thank you for being here. Naomi, thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Natalia.
Thank you,
Gracias.
everyone.
Thanks,
you.
Ibiene. Ciao,
Be
Mabel.
safe.
Gracias,
Love
Clara.
you all.
Ciao.
Thank you, everyone. And thanks all for your response.